Hey family, no teaser for the episode this morning. Welcome to Manhood Matters. Let's get to it.
In the living room, finds his voice. 4 souls gathered, making a choice. Speak of life's great, no sugar to cope. Black man's lens, each word a keynote. Mental storms, physical strife, hustling hard, the pulse of life, race love, and the entrepreneurs climb real talk echoes and find.
I'm your host, Stefan, coming at you solo this Monday. Now, I know you're used to our roundtable discussion, the laughs, the debates, and the gems we drop every single week. But today, I want to do something a little different. I want to just pause and say thank you. We've been at this for only about 7 months now. And just so you guys know, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there. And you choosing to spend a little time with us, giving us your attention, is incredibly appreciated. Most podcasts don't even get to 10 episodes. They realize how much work there is, how involved it is, and they usually just give up after about episode 7. We just released our 35th episode, and the reason we're going strong is because there is a commitment to you and you giving us the feedback. So again, thank you to every single person who tunes in each Monday, who listens in the car, at the gym, on the way to work, or while you unwind at home. Thank you to those who send me messages, who share episodes with friends, and who leave reviews that keep us growing. This show exists because of you. We've built something special here, a space for real talk from a black male lens, where we explore the things that matter, challenge the narratives, and laugh while we're doing it. And I'm just grateful you're on this ride with me. Now, if you've been rocking with Manhood Matters since day one, you know we've had some powerful, thought-provoking, emotional conversations. And if you're new here, this is a perfect chance to catch up. Let's rewind for a second and look at a few standout episodes. Episode 2, Our Dads, How Those Relationships Affect Our Sons. This was a 2-part episode with my friends Willie Nash, Chuck Barnes, and Jabari Pride. We took a deeply personal look at a father-son dynamic, particularly poignant because myself and Willie, we both lost our dads. I had 3 main key takeaways here, and they were the subtle ways early discipline or its absence shapes our own emotional programming and how we parent. The other thing was how unresolved grief over a father's death silently colors how we ourselves show up as men. And finally, an honest reflection on how we can interrupt certain parenting cycles before they repeat. So the healing itself starts by naming how our past parental relationships influence the men we are and the fathers we become. I'm going to jump back and forth here because I don't have a particular order. Then there's episode 28, Mental Health Fitness, filling your cup before pouring into others. What stood out to me was the fact that chronic exhaustion or irritability is not just life. It often signals that you're depleted. You're not just busy. So we need to put on our own oxygen mask first before we assist someone else. We need to make sure our cups are filled so that we can pour into others. Self-care isn't selfish. That is a line from my man Kenneth Reddick Jr., better known as Sober Scooter. Self-care isn't selfish. Maintaining your mental fitness enables you to show up fully for others. In a culture that praises non-stop giving, this episode reminded me that I need to be present for myself, and only then can I be my best for others. And at that point, the love and the clarity and the strength that I pour into them can become transformative. Then we jump over to episode 29, Totality Wellness Workshop, From Trauma to Transformation. And I walked away from that episode having learned so much. For example, I had no idea that suicide is the second leading cause of death among Black youth, ages 10 to 14. That is a crisis, and our community is not aware of this. I can tell you they're not, because I wasn't, and no one that I know talks about this. And then there's the myth of resilience, especially in the Black community. We are supposed to be strong. We're supposed to overcome anything, when in reality, true healing only begins with honest emotional space. We also touched on transforming pain into purpose. So we had stories from Super Bowl champion Dominic Easley, cancer warrior Floyd Stewart, and Antoinette Roberts, who lost her son to suicide some 20 plus years ago, who is still fighting the fight to make sure this hasn't happened to anybody else's son. These people have all transformed their pain to purpose. They create a sacred space to help others, and they turn their own vulnerability into communal strength. Then we had a fun episode with number 14, Can Men Be Faithful? Well, you had to listen to the episode. Simple answer is yes, absolutely. Yes, of course we can. I know some of you are probably listening to this going, yeah, hell no, that's not the case. And then you have to think about, well, what am I attracting? Why is that the case? I will concede that biologically it's a challenge, but so is running around doing whatever you want, taking whatever you want. There are laws that govern our society, and there are moral laws that govern certain people. So faithfulness isn't just moral. It's an internal alignment of respect, consistency, and choice. There's a social myth about good men are hard to find. That's often just a distraction from the real work of intimate commitment. And finally, understand that trust is built over time, rooted in accountability, vulnerability, and shared values. Not just instant chemistry. See, this is where we go wrong all the time. There's a chemistry. That's called a one-night stand. That's exciting, that's great, but that doesn't build over time, and it's not something that is sustainable. True faithfulness is cultivated in the quiet consistency of everyday choices, not just dramatic declarations. One of my absolute favorite episodes also wins the prize for the longest titled episode. It's called Strong Women, Fed Up Men, Defeated Sons, Broken Daughters. It's with my friend Zoel Murphy and organizational psychologist Mark Montblazier, who's also an author and has written 2 books. The episode is named after the first. Why this episode matters is because it teaches us why we are the way we are. Think about our relationships with each other, with our children, with our parents, and with our spouses or significant others. The way we deal with them sometimes can be, for lack of a better word, I hate that word, but let's call it toxic or unhealthy. And we attack the symptoms. We attack what's happening, but we never dig deep into the root cause of the problem. And if we don't find that, then the problem becomes perpetual. What Mark uncovers is the reason these things happen. And that is the conversation that I think every single person needs to have. I've learned several things. For example, forgiveness isn't about absolving others. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of that unresolved pain. I learned that generational trauma subtly sabotages connections unless we're willing to bring it into the light. This goes all the way back to slavery. This goes back generations past. And these are things that need to be addressed. And they can with the help of Mark's book. And also I've learned that small intentional acts, like frequently asking your children, how can I be a better dad? Or asking your wife, how can I be a better husband? Ladies, asking your husband, how can I be a better wife, a better partner? That alone can rebuild relation trust over time. So according to Mark, healing is also having the courage to name our wounds and having the belief that consistent, humble repair matters more than grand gestures. So guys, if you've missed any of those episodes, go back and listen. They are timeless. That's the best thing about a podcast, especially what we're doing here, is that our content is evergreen. As long as we're human, we're going to continue to need to have those conversations. Now, I've got a huge favor to ask, and it's one that helps us grow more than anything else. If you've been rocking with us, if you're listening to the show and you haven't yet left a review, please take 30 seconds to drop one on Apple Podcast or Spotify. I swear to you, that's all it takes. It takes 30 seconds. And that's one of just two things that I'm asking you to help support the show. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for too much of your time. Each one of those actions is about 30 seconds max. And the second part of the favor, think about your favorite episode, or as you listen from this point forward. It could be one that I've already mentioned, or it could be one that personally resonated with you. Forward it to a friend and just say, hey, I think you could get something out of this. And that's how community grows, one conversation at a time. This next part is super exciting. Let me set the stage for you for next week, because you do not want to miss that episode. It's coming out Monday, August 18th. We've got Georgia gubernatorial candidate Derek Jackson joining us. Derek is a military veteran who rose from recruit to lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy. He's been a corporate executive. He's currently a state representative and a man who's dedicated his life to service, both in and out of uniform. In our conversations, we're going to get into his personal journey from small, humble beginnings to political leadership, the values and discipline he brought from the military into public service, his relationship with his mother, and you'll get a real sense of who the man is as a person, which is something that voters never get to see. And finally, his vision for Georgia's future. Now, forget just Georgia. Let me just be clear about something here. If you're not paying attention to the political landscape, you're going to end up walking through a desert alone, wondering what happened to the world while you were asleep. You have to pay attention to these things because they matter today, in my opinion, more than they ever have. So he's running for governor here in the state of Georgia, but the political climate itself is one that requires every bit of our attention, no matter where in the country. This is going to be one of those episodes that's equal parts inspiring and eye-opening. You're going to walk away knowing more about the man, the mission, and the movement behind his campaign. So that's it for today. Go catch up on those past episodes. Leave that review, please. Share the show with a friend. In order for you to support, that's all I'm asking right this second. That's how the algorithm recommends our show to a new audience. And get ready for a big one next week. It's going to be fun. This is Stefan, your host, reminding you that manhood is not about age. It's about action. So stay strong, stay grounded, and I'll see you next Monday.